today's news, after having remained foot and mouth disease free for 3 years, 4 cases of the disease have now been confirmed in Limpopo. 2 cases were confirmed in the Waterberg district, one in the Vhembe district and another in Aldays. In a combined press statement, the African Farmers Association of South Africa, Agri-Limpopo, the National Agricultural Farmers Union of Limpopo and TLU Limpopo urged the MEC of Agriculture in the province to intervene as soon as possible. Deirdre Carter, manager of Agri-Limpopo, had this to say on behalf of Organised Agriculture.
Organised Agriculture in Limpopo, comprising of FAFASA, Agri-Limpopo, NAFU and TLU Limpopo, has called on the MEC for Agriculture to immediately intervene following new confirmed cases of foot and mouth disease in the Limpopo province. Limpopo has proudly maintained the FMD-free status for almost 3 years, thanks to the combined efforts of the livestock sector and agricultural organizations who have proactively implemented measures to safeguard provincial herds. However, recent developments pose a serious threat to this hard-won status. There has been 2 confirmed FMD cases in the Waterberg district, 1 confirmed case in the Vhembe district, and 1 confirmed case in the Aldays area. Now, these incursions place enormous pressure on all livestock farmers and rural communities, and Limpopo cannot afford another FMD outbreak. So therefore, immediate preventative action is essential. So as Organised Agriculture, after the JOC meeting that we had on Monday, there were some really good discussions, and the call at this stage to the MEC and to government is that we need immediate strengthening of Limpopo's provincial borders. A strict requirement that no cloven hoofed animals may enter the province without a valid veterinary certificate. And then the introduction of severe spot fines calculated double the value of the animal being moved unlawfully. If we go back to legislation that's dated back to 1985, you cannot look at the comparison of a 2,000 Rand fine and 2 years imprisonment. That needs to be adjusted, and therefore we propose the following penalties. A minimum of 7,000 Rand, for example, per goat or sheep, or a minimum of 25,000 per head of cattle. Now, the illegal or uncontrolled movement of livestock amounts to economic sabotage, jeopardizing the livelihoods, food security, and the stability of Limpopo's rural economy. We are united and resolute. We're requesting government to act now to protect Limpopo's farmers and ensure our province remains disease-free.
Dit was Deirdre Carter van Agri-Limpopo. Intussen het TLUSA op nasionale vlak sy kommer uitgespreek oor die toenemende druk wat boerderye en landelike gemeenskappe ervaar weens uitbrekings van bek en klauseer. Die organisasie sê boere wat binne die 10 km kwarantyngordels val, word feitelik tot stilstand gedwing omdat geen vee verskuif mag word voordat die gebied weer vry verklaar is nie. Die organisasie het die hantering van die staatsbeheerde siekte sterk gekritiseer en gesê die staat se beloftes dat die nasionale kudde ingeënt kan word is 'n skrale troos. Hulle sê onsekerheid heers aangesien daar onduidelikheid is oor wie die koste vir die inenting sal dra, hoe dit gereguleer gaan word en waar die enstowwe vandaan sal kom. Bertus van der Westhuizen, voorsitter van TLUSA in die Vrystaat, brei uit oor produsente se penarie.
Die uitbreking van bek en klauseer in die Vrystaat en ander dele van die land plaas boere binne kwarantynegebiede in 'n finansiëel onhoudbare situasie, aangesien vee nie verskuif kan word nie en die impak van verlore inkomste, opeenlopende kostes en 'n dreigende weidingskrisis al hoe ernstiger word. TLUSA dring daarop aan dat die staat verantwoordelikheid begin neem, vergoeding oorweeg en 'n werkbare tydelike oplossing toelaat sodat boere lewenswerke kan beskerm terwyl biosekuriteitsmaatreëls gehandhaaf word. Baie dankie.
En so sê Bertus van der Westhuizen van TLISA in die Vrystaat. Botswana's Minister of Lands and Agriculture has announced that the country's borders have yet again been closed for the import of various agricultural products. The list includes tomatoes, potatoes, white and red cabbage, white and red onions, watermelon, peppers, cucumbers and various other vegetables. A government spokesperson, Neoleng Kopani, says the reason for the decision is the large volumes of these products are available locally. Members of the public have also been encouraged to support local producers. Agbiz chief economist Wandile Sihlobo explains why this action is counterproductive to achieving regional goals.
So South Africa is part of SACU, which is the customs union, a trade bloc, which includes South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Swaziland, and Lesotho. Amongst other things, this bloc ensures that there's free trade amongst these countries. There aren't tariffs and random blockage of products from moving from one country to the next, except, of course, there are certain national security risks. The bloc has been in existence for some time, since 1910, and in certain times it has undergone a period of review. But I think at the moment it does require a serious review for a number of reasons. One, because there are some countries in this bloc that continuously block South African products from being exported to those countries, particularly in agriculture. And the two countries that have continued with this practice is Botswana and Namibia. Namibia has blocked South African vegetable for some time. We're still restricted from exporting vegetables to Namibia. Botswana has done the same in 2021 and in years following that. But last year, they temporarily lifted those restrictions. But we learned today, December 8th, that they actually put those restrictions back online. And this, of course, then will limit South Africa from participating in that market. The key argument that all of these countries put on the table is that they want to increase their own domestic production, which is a fair thing, and we want countries to do that. But I do think that there is an appropriate way of doing that without completely shutting off trade and disrupting the value chains in this region. Disadvantages the consumers in these countries, the retailers, but also not thinking about the coordination in this region and respecting the rules of the game of SACU, the customs union. And I think that because of these frequent practices that we are all observing, there is a need to ensure that we review this. Of course, Botswana is an important market for South Africa for a range of products. But if we look on the vegetables alone, I mean, when we think about our vegetable exports to the world, they are just over $200 million US, and Botswana out of that accounts for roughly about 8% or so of South Africa's vegetable exports. But put that aside, the issue is not only just about the value and the economic impact on the South African farmers. I think the bigger issue is about how this group practice and how the rules of the game are actually respected in this group. The second and the last point here is about what this grouping does in limiting South Africa's ability on negotiating new trade agreements. Because if South Africa is to enter any trade agreement with another country, it has to come back to this group and seek consensus so that all of these countries can agree. And I think on the basis of that, the frequent friction that we are experiencing, the limits that we continue to experience when we are trying to start free trade agreement, I think it's an appropriate time to really look into this SACU conversation and say, perhaps, can it be modernized to fit today's moment?
And that was Wandile Sihlobo from Agbiz. Goeie weerstoestande, sterk landbouuitvoere en meer doeltreffende hawens dra daartoe by dat Suid-Afrikaanse landboubesighede die jaar op 'n positiewer noot afsluit as waarop dit begin het. Die jongste landboubesigheidsvertrouensindeks van Agbiz en die onafhanklike ontwikkelingskorporasie toon dat die indeks in die 4de kwartaal met 5 basispunte tot 67 verbeter het. Dit is 17 punte bo die neutrale vlak van 50. Volgens Paul Makube, senior landbouekonoom by FNB, dui die syfers onder andere daarop dat daar weer 'n goeie aptyt vir belegging in die sektor ontstaan het. Landbou se bruto binnelandse produk het gedurende die eerste 3 kwartale van vanjaar groei getoon. Makube sê die prentjie kon selfs beter gewees het as dit nie was vir voorslepende back-enclosure uitbrekings nie. Landboumasjinerieverkope het ook 'n stewige vertoning gelewer met jaar op jaar trekker en stroperverkope wat onderskeidelik met 19,2 en 2,6% gegroei het. And this week saw history being made when the Klein Goederust wine cellar, the country's first black-owned wine cellar, officially opened its doors in Franschhoek. During the event, the Western Cape Minister of Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism, Dr. Ivan Meyer, hailed the opening as a triumph for real transformation and inclusive growth in one of South Africa's most iconic sectors. He emphasized that this milestone demonstrates what is possible when government, industry and entrepreneurs work together. Klein Goederust was acquired in 2019 by owner Paul Sigutwa and has been transformed from a neglected farm into a thriving boutique winery and tourism destination. Both Sigutwa and his winemaker Rodney Zimba are the children of farm worker parents. Die mededingingsowerhede het die verkoop van Tiger Brands se meulebesigheid aan Rand Agri goedgekeur. Die transaksie sluit Tiger Brands se mielie- en koringmeulens in Randfontein, as ook die bekende ACE handelsmerk in. Die goedkeuring is egter onderhewig daaraan dat Rand Agri alle huidige werkers in diens moet hou en dat die voorwaardes van hul dienskontrakte nie minder gunstig as die bestaande situasie mag wees nie. Tiger het in Mei vanjaar sy verkoopplanne aangekondig. Rand Agri is 'n groot maatverhandelaar met sy hoofkantoor in Middelburg, Mpumalanga. Die maatskappy besit reeds 'n meule in Bethal waar mieliemeel en mieliegruis vervaardig word. American President Donald Trump has announced a $12 billion aid package for American farmers who were hurt by the financial fallout from his trade policies. Farm groups and Republican farm state lawmakers hope that the aid will support farmers with purchases of seeds, fertilizer, and other expenses for next year's growing season. Trump announced on Monday that the first $11 billion of the aid package is set to be disbursed by 28 February. It will mostly benefit row crop farmers. The administration will be holding back the remaining $1 billion for fruit, vegetables, and other crop farmers. And still in the US, the American Food and Drug Administration has given conditional approval for a new pour-on dip to protect cattle from the dreaded New World screwworm. The product was developed by Merck Animal Health and has been used on Mexican cattle since November. In its efforts to protect American cattle herds from the parasite, the country's Department of Agriculture stopped importing live cattle, bison and horses from Mexico in 2024. Before closing its borders, the US imported more than 1 million calves from Mexico annually. US cattle numbers are currently at their lowest level since 1951, and the outbreak is also contributing to volatility in the livestock futures market and rising beef prices, creating a political headache for the Trump administration. Drought, import tariffs, and smaller herds are exacerbating the situation. En nou is dit tyd vir Johan van der Berg met ons jongste weernuus.
Ja, ons sien nog kolle en strepe waar dit swaar reën, maar hier's gedeeltes waar dit gereën het, waar dit al begin droër word. So dit lyk tog of hier 'n bietjie verandering besig is om plaas te vind. Dit lyk of, kom ons sê, die tweede deel van Desember dat ons al heelwat minder reën behoort te kry. Dit lyk asof hier neerslae ligter gaan wees. Daar kan nog hier en daar swaar neerslae. Maar op die kort termyn is daar wel nog redelike goeie reën hier rondom die 12de, 13de, Vrydag, Saterdag se kant. veral oor die weste en die suidwestelike dele van die land. So dit lyk of dele van veral die Karoo, die benede Oranjerivier, die Oos-Kaap gedeeltes, Vrystaat, dat daar 20 tot 30 mm kan voorkom. Dis 'n reeks van koue fronte wat so uit die suidweste oor die land aanbeweeg en dit versterk die laagdrukstelsel hier aan die weste kant van die land en dit maak dat hier 'n redelike invloed van vog uit die noorde kom en vir ons 'n redelike goeie neerslag kan gee. Soos ons gesê, die langer termyn lyk dit tog of dit begin minder gunstig word, maar hier is nog, kom ons sê vir die volgende weke, redelik reën oor die sentrale na oostelike dele.
Dit was dan Johan van der Berg met ons landbou weernuus en ook die einde van vandag se nuus.